Hello, everyone. It's Dr. P. This lecture is about company culture. And I want to talk about a company that some of you may have heard of. It's a company called Zappos. Zappos is a shoe company. I first recall seeing or hearing about them when I was traveling, on a business travel or whatever. And it was right around when the TSA or the security people at the airports started with those trays where you had to put your shoes in them. And there was the bottom of the tray had an ad for Zappos or at least some kind of communication about Zappos, which made sense if you think about it. You're putting your shoes in this little bin, and they were advertising that they sell shoes. So that's the first time I heard about them. Why they became important to me and to my company is we were working on redefining and solidifying and building our culture at Ciba Vision, the company I used to work for. They sold contact lenses and lens care, and now they're a part of Alcon. And one of the things that we wanted to be thoughtful and proactive about was, what kind of culture do we want to have? You know, it was a 50-year-old company or whatever, and but it needed to refresh its culture, and we wanted to look at companies who had strong company cultures and how they built them and what they were all about. So we stumbled upon Zappos, and there's a couple of things I want to tell you about. First off, Zappos is intentional about building its culture, and it starts with its core values. So I have this book. It's called the 2009 2009 Culture Book from Zappos, and in it talks about their core values, which I'll tell you in just a minute. It talks about their core values. And then throughout the whole book are stories and pictures and anecdotes from employees talking about how they bring these core values to life. Now, the 10 core values that Zappos has are very interesting, and I'll just read them. The first one is deliver wow through service. 2 is embrace and drive change. 3 is create fun and a little weirdness. 4, be adventurous, creative, and open-minded. 5, pursue growth and learning. 6, build open and honest relationships with communication. 7, build a positive team and family spirit. 8, do more with less. 9, be passionate and determined. And 10 is be humble. Now, I ask you to reflect on those and think about them. When was the last time you heard of core values, such as these? Talking about creating fun and a little weirdness, or be humble. It's very interesting. Now, the story I want to tell you is I called Zappos. One of the things I was tasked to do in building our culture was reach out to some of these companies and ask them about their company culture. And I called Zappos, and for the most part, most of the time you call Zappos, you get the customer service department, right? People who are selling you shoes or dealing with any service-related issues you may have. But essentially, they're, probably minimum wage employees that are interfacing with the company. With their customers. And one of the things I wanted to ask them was, give me an example. Talk to me about your core values. Tell me your favorite core value and how you bring it to life. And this one person told me that her favorite core value was deliver wow through service. And I said, well, how do you do that on a day-to-day basis? Tell me an example. So she told me one time that a woman called in and wanted to return some products. She wanted to return 2 pairs of shoes. And, as a salesperson or any business owner, returns are negative sales, right? You don't want returns You want outbound revenue. You don't want product coming back where it reduces your revenue and profit. But of course, returns are a part of the business, and she was happy to process the returns. So she asked the woman, "Why are you returning the shoes? Is there something wrong with them? Don't they fit?" And the woman told her that no, they were gifts for her mother, and her mom passed away from cancer, and she had never worn the shoes and never had an opportunity to enjoy them. And it really took the customer service rep at Zappos, back, kind of set her back a little bit. But she processed the return. She told the woman she was sorry that her mom died, and happily gave her a refund and processed it, and then exited the phone call. And I said, well, that doesn't really seem like wow through service. What about it was wow? And she said, well, what I did immediately after I hung up, I ordered flowers, and I had flowers sent to her, sympathy flowers saying, sorry about the passing of your mom. And, and I said, well, that's great. Are you allowed to do that? And she goes, yeah, we had an allowance. And I think at the time it may have been $50. We have $50 per transaction to make it right, to do the right thing by the customer, to deliver wow. And her wow was to show that woman who didn't want to do anything other than call up and get a return for 2 pair of shoes, that Zappos cared about her enough to send her flowers and say that, with deepest sympathy, we're thinking about you and your mom. And I just think that was an incredible story. I probably heard about that maybe 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and it stuck with me. And I remember that to this day. So when I was reading in the textbook about Zappos and their approach, I knew I wanted to share this story with you. Anyway, you can go online and read about Zappos or the Tony Heisch, who used to be the CEO at Zappos, and their journey. But I wanted to share that with you. So go ahead and take a look perhaps online and see if you want to find any more about their corporate culture or values. But that's it. I wanted to share that with you. It's a great example of companies living their values and not just posting them on the wall for their employees to recite. Take care.